is that Misty, I've had her for 4 years. I adopted her 4 years ago. We don't care, I know, because I've heard you, what she did before. But she was in an apartment in Boston for 7 years and they never let her out. Because of that, she was not socialized, nothing. I had her spayed and I took her to several obedience, agility
classes.
Yep, she got her canine good citizen, barely, but she got it. So that's what we've done. And I've had her for, like I said, 4 years. Then I decided that I was going to get another dog to perhaps help her. Ted is the dog, and Ted is 4 years old. And they were getting along okay, kind of. She would jump on him and he would try to ignore her. But it's escalated, and I feel it's me because now I have like PTSD and I feel that I'm a nervous wreck because I don't want them to fight. And this was her last fight. It was really bad, down to the bone. He grabbed her arm, he wouldn't let go, and I had to pry it open with a butter knife. And he had a muzzle on and he got through that muzzle. So he was just sick and tired of her crap, really.
What does she do that makes him upset?
She growls at him. She doesn't want him around. She wants to control him. I don't know what to do. I was going to think about rehoming Ted, but I don't want to do that. I was going to do board and train, but you said, you know, you could have them sleeping together and doing very well, but it's me.
Right.
So this is and I know it's the problem.
Yeah, because when you get dogs that don't do well with each other, there's some dogs who just don't like other dogs, and there's nothing that anybody can do anything about. There's dogs that, in this situation, we have to decipher and kind of figure out why they aren't getting along. Just like with kids, you know, you get little brother, big brother picking on each other, you have to step in unless they're just gonna go after each other for a while. But I would agree, if you feel like Misty's the instigator or the aggressor, that's where you have to focus. But right now, if you don't have that control, or any control?
And I don't. I can honestly tell you I don't. But I'm not a trainer, you know? And I feel that there are problems.
So if Misty doesn't like Ted, the obedience is going to help manage the situation at the very least. You know, she may never curl up into a ball and say, hey Ted, let's hang out and play. If it is stemming and being created because of your lack of structure, we've already decided like there is lack of structure for sure. We don't have a lot of control. If that's the reason why this is happening, it'll help significantly. So obedience would be, Misty, go to your place and stay, or if they're outside running around chasing squirrels, it would be recall. So you can individually control the dog, so you can try to be as proactive as you can. The great thing about everything that we're gonna be doing is you can transfer this to Ted. Because if Ted's just being crazy and Misty's like, okay, I'm listening, I'm doing what you want, like we planned, but this isn't fair because now Ted is running a ruck around the house or whatever. Terriers, especially even smaller terriers, people just kind of overlook, but they are serious working dogs that if they don't get some sort of outlet, if they don't get some sort of job, like, hey, I'm waking up, I'm checking in, like a border collie, like, hey, what do you want me to do today? You're gonna get some of that leaking over into nervousness, anxiety, stress, frustration, aggression. We're not trying to say, hey, we want you to like other dogs, we want you to like Ted. Let's put you into a situation that's gonna make you successful and fair, to say, now you got a fair shot. And hey, if she doesn't like Ted, at least you can manage the situations. There's plenty of dog owners out there that have two dogs that don't necessarily get along all the time, but they can manage it and coexist and live a pretty happy life, stress-free life because of their obedience. Right now, she loves you and she finds comfort with you, but it's not a healthy comfort because you can't give her information. Now we're gonna take it up to the next level and we're really gonna make your relationship come full circle instead of just glorified roommates. So I'm gonna start off with a slip. That's like the best first thing to start with, just to start developing that leash pressure because it has action. So the martingale that she's on is a good collar. It's an everyday wearer. So there's a difference between a training collar and just an everyday wearer collar. So with her, that's gonna be a new system for her. So she's gonna be sensitive with it. Why don't you just walk around the room and work on your basics, and I wanna see where that's at.
Heel.
Good. Okay, let's just stop and then ask her to sit. Sit. Good. Don't get in a habit of heel, sit, Every time you do this, you're correcting her
I'm
for something.
correcting, yes.
Right. So don't ask and correct at the same time, because she's like, well, I'm gonna get punished anyway. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait for you to punish me. So you ask her to sit, and she's like, yeah, I know it, but I'm not gonna do it. Positive punishment. We're adding that correction to the equation. Oh, okay, my bad. Good sit. But just make sure you say something and you have that clarity. Good heel.
Good heel, Misty.
And then just stop and ask her to sit.
Misty, sit.
Good sit.
Good.
Perfect.
sit.
Absolutely perfect. When you're handling her, I want you to pay attention to where you're going, because I'm afraid you're going to run into something. So you want to make sure that you're controlling the walk in all aspects. So let me show you. So when you're handling, you want to be like this, and you're handling this way. You can look at her every now and then.
Instead of, I go like
This is what you're doing. It's not sustainable. And
No.
it's, when you're out,
And my back is killing me.
right, yeah. So what you want to do is just heel around like this. See how nice this is?
Yep.
I'm not leaning over, I'm not talking to her, I'm not confusing her. There was a lot of things that you were doing that are redundant in a sense of you're saying a lot of the same stuff that mean a lot of the same things. When you're handling, you want to have clarity, precision, not confusion. If she's heeling nicely, you just tell her good heel. And I'm kind of using my leash here to help guide her. And what I tell people is just use your peripherals to kind of look down, and you can still see kind of a fish-eyed lens if you look kind of down in front of you versus like completely staring at her. Sit. Good sit. Okay, break. Good girl. Good.
Misty, heel.
There you go. Just practice this.
Good heel.
Good. So you're more
Good heel.
you're more feeling her than anything. It's like fishing. You're not gonna dive down and see your bait and say,
Good
hey,
heel,
what are you doing down
right.
there? You're just feeling, and
Heel.
she's engaging with you, which is good. What a lot of people do is they tend to get into a fix-it mode, I call it. You're so focused on them making mistakes or you making mistakes,
Right.
you lose sight of what you're trying to do, which is do what you just did, which is walk nicely with your dog on a loose leash. One thing I will say too is, again, we want to set her up for success every time she goes into a down instead of a sit. So what I would do is just down her instead of sit her. Just try to make it easier on yourself. Yeah, technically she should be sitting because you said sit, but we're not working on this crazy competitive obedience. We want to just have structure. We want her to listen to us and take guidance and structure with us, but just try to set yourself up for less corrections and less conflict by just telling her to down instead of sit, because that's her comfortable stance. That's where she feels comfortable, and she'll stay there for longer periods of time.
Nope. Misty, what is she doing? Hey, come on. No. She was sniffing around there.
Right, so what?
So what do I do with that?
Good question. What I would do is again, don't give her multiple, because you got to think she's taking information when you're giving it to her individually. There it was like, what are you doing? Leave it, and
She's
no,
like blah,
and-
blah, blah, blah.
Correct. So when you tell her to leave it and she doesn't, that's where you pop the leash. But you want to be very mindful every single time that you pop this. You're telling her, bad dog. As soon as they do something we don't like, leave it, comes out of our mouth, and then same thing with sit, anything. The leash and the collar, like we talked about earlier, is just a reinforcement behind the verbal. But don't pop again as like another like nudge, because that's what you did there when she walked away and she wasn't sniffing anymore, you popped her one more, which I think is, it's human nature to say, can't believe you did that. You gotta remember that dogs work so off timing. I'm just saying, when you're training specifically, hey, we're working, you're not overloading this and this, it's just heel, good heel, sit, good sit. And if they don't, it's reinforcement, so it's operant conditioning. There's some people who think positive only training, which means only rewarding behaviors and ignoring bad behaviors, will yield results, and it will right when you're doing positive reinforcement. But as soon as the animal shifts and so, okay, now I'm gonna be crazy and go after other dogs, and you either turn your back or you do negative reinforcement, you pull away, you walk behind the counter. I've seen people cover the dog's eyes. Doesn't fix the problem. Long term, when we ask a dog to do something, we don't need food. They just do it. Same exact thing with tools to reinforce things. If we say, hey, leave it, we shouldn't have to need this. In the beginning, you do, just like you need to develop behaviors of positive reinforcement. So it's like this balance.
Sit.
Good.
Good.
Sit.
Sit. Down. Good down.
See, that feels much better, I'm sure.
Much better.
Where's it? Go get it. I would try to bring that prey drive out of her because she wants to play tug. That's why she's doing that to her leash.
Exactly. Now she will walk down the street with me and try to grab the leash.
What's that? What's that? Good girl. But when you get a terrier, you want to outlet them naturally as much as you can. Like a lab with a ball, a golden retriever with a ball. It's killing things. I mean, people don't, like, oh, look, it's ripping apart a toy. They're killing it in the morning when you wake up. The first thing is they have all of this wound up, right? 100%. Throughout the day, if you're just treating her like a couch potato dog, she's only releasing 10% of her needed release schedule. So now she's got 90% left in the tank.
So it's not enough then, Tom, that
No.
we hike in the forest?
That's great.
But it's not enough.
It's you want to do more mental stuff with her.
Okay.
So you want to do more brain games with her. Dogs in general are just so athletic. It's hard to really exhaust them unless you get like a bulldog or a giant breed, Saint Bernard, Newfoundland, something like that. It is hard to exhaust them to their full exhaustion of like what they're fulfilled with. So that's why you just mix it up with mental stimulation. So what you're seeing here is like the Jack Russell Terrier came out and they're like, let me kill this thing. I'll get this thing. I want to kill it. It's like, whoa, like they get very predatorial with it, right? It's like, why do we like camping? Because that's what we always used to do way back in the day. It was just like this, there's something about it, right? You smell smoke and you're like, wow, that's cool. Like it triggers things in your head and you're like, wow, it's so ingrained and so instinctual for us for these little things. So with dogs, you want to just say, hey, like if you want to be a Jack Russell Terrier, do it on this, right? Not your brother. So there's that fine line of making sure that they don't obsess it and possess it, because you do want them to have some sort of obsession over like, gimme, 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 because then you can do great obedience. That's why like you see people with working dogs have really tight, super motivated obedience, because if they do well, they get paid with a tug. This is what I love. And this is how most terriers in general are. Pit Bull Terriers, Jack Russell Terriers, Staffies. They're just like work, 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 work. So what do? We use that as an outlet. Misty, bed or place? Yes, good place. Okay, break. Good. Place. Misty, place. Yes, good place. Good, break. Good. Misty, place. Yes, good place. Break. So as you guys can see, timing is huge here. I'm ready for her before she's ready to get it. You gotta make sure you have that. So when I ask her to do something, and I'm sitting there like, hold on, you lose your opportunity to capture things, because she's like, I'm over this. So you gotta be on time. So this is where handling comes in. This is the stuff I can't teach people unless you have it. You either have this or you don't. This is that like finesse that singers and actors and musicians and chefs, any type of artist has. Okay, place. Yes, good place. Break. You see that enthusiasm there? Woohoo! Love it. Okay, place. Yes, good place. Good. It's a question I get often. How much exercise? With this particular dog, if you go out and you do a trail walk, that's awesome. Outdoors are the best place for dogs to be. But because she's so motivated, I would take whatever she's eating for food and do obedience, because that's gonna unwind that mental. So see this enthusiasm of like, gimme, gimme, gimme. Go to your place. Yes, good place. Sit. Yes, down. Yes, break. Good. Sit. Yes, good. Place. Yes, sit. Good. Down. Down. Good. Stay. So she's got more workability than a Malinois. It's really fun. Break. Good. Place. Yes, good place. But you guys see how I'm starting to get that distance now. So now if we wanted to get fancy and we wanted to take a third out, Misty, place. Yes, good place. Good. Break. Place. Yes, good place. Break. Good. Misty, place. Yes, good place. Okay. Go to your place. Bang. That's it. Good place. Now we're in business.
She did so fantastic with you. It was wonderful. She woke up and I was just saying, it woke me up kind of too, because at 70 years old, you think, you know, you're circling the drain, so to speak, you know what I mean? So that was really good. I mean,
Motivating,
yes.
empowering.
perfect
Yeah.
words.
That's what I want my training to be.
Yes, it is all the way. In
Cool.
every respect. I mean, even sitting and watching others was very intriguing to me. I feel that we can do this.
Yes, that's
And
great.
there are no bad dogs.
That's right. I'm glad that you felt that. That's why I feel like this powerful sense of responsibility, but also empowerment of like you said, it's like, yeah, I don't really know how much we're gonna progress. I don't know what my dog can do, especially if you get a dog that's maybe you've adopted or rescued and you don't really know. And then all of a sudden somebody like myself or anybody else that's professional starts revving that engine, the dog starts firing up and you're like, what the hell? Where'd this dog come from? And that's what I really like to do, is just show you what your dog is capable of, because if you don't know, you don't know.
And what I am capable of
Right.
too, because it's really important to know, I think. It doesn't matter about age. It's moment to moment, breath to breath. There's no time involved here. And we have to really go with the flow of things.
Yeah.
And that's what's so beautiful about this whole thing that you've created. It's really wonderful.
Thank you. The honest truth about it is, without sounding condescending, is when the dog comes in, it's over. Like, I get it. Like, me and the dog, it's done. It's like,
I know.
you know? And
Well,
then,
that's what you said. You have to actually train the human animals.
yes. That's what it is. That's what it
They're
comes down to.
there. They
Exactly.
are right there in the present moment. It's us that are
Yeah.
filtering out the layers.
Yep. Each moment that they're there, it's a new leaf. Like, every moment, they're like, we can change it. Anytime you want to change, you tell me what to do.
Let me know.
Exactly.